Makes me cold just to think about it.
Oh, here we are. We are Dr. Dub Carlin and Tessa Greenspan back for another episode of the Influencers Tuesdays with Tessa is in Greenspan. Good morning, darling.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful.
I
It's a
that.
good day to have a good day.
It is indeed. You know what? It's so much fun. And every single Tuesday, I have the same intro and the same response to your same wonderfulness. Does anybody wonder why we keep coming back?
Well, it's really important to set your mind right, first of all. And when you tell yourself it's a good day to have a good day, well, it will be.
Yes.
And if it goes off, you go off of the curve or the arrow, then you just jump back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you start to go, listen, if you're going off the cliff, spread your wings and fly and move your feet so when you land, you're running.
Yeah, well, you first.
Did you ever see on social media, any one of the platforms, those people who are in the mountains, like in the Alps, and they're in a huge valley, like a ravine between the mountain ranges, and they've got on those black fly suits.
Yes, I've seen it. I have seen it.
And they fly.
I know.
I love that.
Well, I enjoy seeing it, but that takes nerve. You know, there's a lot of people who really want to live dangerously because that energizes them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's everybody is different, and go for it if that's what you want.
There are things that people do that make them feel like, okay, I've justified again my ability to live and to survive through that. But there's a real myth in it, isn't there?
Well, there actually, it can help you. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I walked over 1,600-degree coals, bent steel rebar with my neck with a partner. I have broken boards. I have climbed rock walls. So, I mean, and this hasn't been very long ago. I went zip lining.
Right. I have a picture of you zip lining. Yeah, that was exquisite. So what does that do for you, Tessa? Does that make you trust yourself more?
Right, yes. And actually, that's really what it is trusting yourself. And you really always need to say, is it safe for me to do this before you do it? Because it's really your inner being will know if it's safe. If you have a bad feeling, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Like I was more of a risk taker earlier on in my life, like on my bicycle in Chicago, being at Foster Avenue Beach and the concrete platforms, which was part of the seawall. And it was like 3 feet up from the water. And I had a 10-speed, and I thought this would be really cool. Just ride it right off the end and into the lake, and lift up on the handlebars as you do that. And so I did that, and I landed in the water, didn't get hurt or anything. And I'm thinking, as I'm, drifting down to the bottom of the lake, I'm thinking, I need to get my bicycle out of here. And you're like 10, 12 feet down. I'm having to, yank my bike up, drag it to the wall. And there's a metal ladder on the metal wall. And it was a good thing I had people there, because I could have never gotten it up by myself, but I didn't really think it through, right? I was like,
and many times we don't. The different things I did is usually with groups. So, but to do it by yourself, and then, I mean, when you don't put some thought into it, that's true. You don't really know what the results will be. It's really always good to see or have plans for the outcome.
Yeah, we didn't have plans for the outcomes when we were doing that. As a matter of fact, we did it.
Well, you were young, so that made the difference.
Well, I talked one of the guys into riding the bicycle, and I rode on the handlebars, and we took it into the water. Wait a second. We get to the bottom, and he latches onto me, and I looked at him and I thought he does not know how to swim. So I had to grab him and shove him over to the wall and hold him by the sides of his jean cutoffs and push him. And he climbed up the ladder. Big football player. I was a skinny little thing. And go back, get my bike, and then ask for help. When I got out of the water, I said, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "I got excited." What? And like skydiving and hot air balloons and all that.
Yeah, I like hot air balloons.
Do you love all that?
Yes, I do. And the when you go on a boat and you go up, I've done that too. So, I think I don't feel that I've done anything other than walk on the fire that could have turned really. So again, I didn't do it.
Any of those could have turned.
That's true. So it's really, it was learning to trust myself and knowing that there isn't anything that's impossible once you put your mind to it. Now, there might be a few things, but in our life, most of the time, there isn't anything that we can't do if we decide. Sometimes it takes learning about it, sometimes whatever, within the realm of possibilities, period, even outside of it. So it's really testing ourselves and knowing that nothing is really impossible. It's really what you decide to do and have the information to that, of what it takes. But it's really, it's a challenge, and challenging yourself to know, if I can do this, I can do anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because when I think about, and you and I know each other very well, when I think about all the things that we have both gone through and the risks and the chances that we've taken, calculated, but calculations are only worth so much for so long.
That's true. That's very true also. Mm-hmm.
And yet what we've both done is we've not just survived, but we've thrived through tremendous circumstances.
That's true. And I say that a lot. In fact, I have an article in Thrive Global, and it's on LinkedIn and my Facebook page, of love, of this month, and love, what's possible in life. And in Thrive, one of the ways that we thrive is if we are connected with people and that we love deeply. It really makes all the difference in the world. And I didn't mean to change the subject, but it just thriving. It's my goal to, I posted something on Maya Angelou. My goal is not to just survive. My goal is to thrive.
Yeah. And don't you think that that's a beautiful reality for everybody to embrace, to hear and to embrace right now at this particular point in our history, both in America, around the world, and humanity?
Yes.
Because right now, too many of us, and I mean, I get in this mind frame that I really work to push myself through it. It's, lockdown and masking, and you can feel like, how can I survive this? And then I think, of course I will, but I want to thrive this.
Thrive in the process. And this is really what many people have done. And I would encourage every single person to not let this stop your living, because many people have become so fear-based that they're sort of catatonic because you're afraid to do this, afraid to do that. And I say, feel if this is the right thing for you to do. but don't stop living your life because of the pandemic, because of politics, because of anything. Think of ways to enjoy your life. And there are many ways that you can, even if we are shut in. But there are so many things that you can do. You can call someone, you can encourage someone, you can send a card or a gift, many things. Actually, we should have lists of these are some things. Making a phone call to people, even who are shut in, is really a good thing to do also. And do FaceTime and Zooms.
See, you just took my sentence. I was just going to say.
Yeah. So it really is there. I would encourage every single person listening and looking to think of the things. You know, there are so many things you can do during the day, and it will help you. It really nourishes our soul. And to love, call somebody and just say, you know, I haven't talked to you, but I want you to know what a difference you've made in my life. I love you, and I want you to know that.
Will you call me later?
Yeah, I'll call you. Yes.
Well, it's true, you know, and even with people who you just met, it doesn't have to be like lifelong friends. People who you've just encountered. Here's my thinking: if you like somebody, let them know. Like, what's the
This is
game?
true.
What's the
I don't think you should say love recklessly.
Never recklessly.
But you say, you know, I appreciate you. You've got the most beautiful eyes. Your hair is so pretty. I really like you.
You know what? Sometimes I really love people. I mean, like
Well, and say it when you actually do.
I
But
do.
don't say it frivolously.
I never say it frivolously.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful. I mean, it's so easy to love. Now, there's a difference from saying to someone, I am so deeply in love with you. That's different. But to tell people, you know, I absolutely love you. I mean, I met you an hour ago. I already love you. You're wonderful. That's possible.
That's true. And there's a difference between I'm deeply in love with you versus I love you. You're just such a great person.
Exactly. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, what have you been doing out there in the wilds of Arizona?
I am enjoying 70-degree weather. 72. I am loving my life. I always love my life, but I especially am loving this weather when it's 20 below in Chicago.
Along the lakefront today, they're saying 20 below, we're going to get more snow. Now, I don't mind the more snow. I love the snow. It's really pretty. It's all clean. It's white. The lake I'm looking out onto, it's all chunky ice and snow, you know. But I will tell you something that I'm a little uncomfortable with. It's a little cold in my home. It's a little cold. It's a lot of windows.
Well, and that makes it colder. Yes.
Yes.
T-shirt. Well, that's what I do. I wear many layers, and they're called heat. They go to
sweater down to my knees, and then I got on leggings and a pair of corduroys, you know, Ugg boots, Ugg slippers, actually. Yeah, so I'm comfortable, but you know, my little fish, Mr. Flurf, I've been a little worried about him because the water gets a little too cold.
You're freezing him to death. You need to move someplace warm for your fish.
Actually was so worried about him the last 2 nights. I brought him from the dining room table where it's the coldest into my bedroom and put him on the nightstand next to me. And I put a towel around it, but I gave him like a peek hole so that he could see me.
Yes, that fish has a brain. They're looking for you.
I know. It's so sweet. So, you know, the issue of trust. I know it sounds silly, but really, my little fish trusts me.
Yes. Well, and animals do. You know, animals also can tell a lot about people. You know, they have this magnificent sensing mechanism that they know. Animals, actually, that's how you can if you have a pet,
Mhm.
take it different places. That's how you can tell people. They know. You don't have to say a word.
Yeah.
Your pet, especially dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. This little guy is so cute. When I walk into the room where he's at, he kind of wiggles his little body and he comes swimming over to me from whatever part of the round bowl that he's in. And it's nice. And I know it's goofy. I mean, he's my
No,
two.
it isn't. It's the energy. They can tell.
It's,
It's the energy that they're going towards. Positive energy.
and then I put my hands on either side of the bowl and I think heat, warm vibes. I actually scooped out some of the water and then I went to my instant hot water, which is like 178 degrees, and I got a cup of it and I diluted his water and it was noticeably different to the touch. So I have a thermometer coming tomorrow.
That's good. Well, you know, I think it's wonderful that you're taking such good care of this fish. It really is. I mean, you're responsible for something. That's so good. Good for you. You get a star.
You know, I remember different times in my life, and I had people, grown-ups and kids and babies and cats and dogs and all this. Now I've been reduced to my plants and my little 2-inch fish. But it's amazing how much happiness you can get.
It's true. It's
Right?
And again, that's part of giving. You're giving of yourself. You're taking care of something, and so that's part of the giving part. And let's get back, since we really don't have a lot of time. Valentine's Day is coming up, and
Okay.
I think it would be really good to get what is real rather than once a year telling people that you love them or whatever.
Okay.
Make it a point, make it a point once a week all year instead of once a year.
Okay. All right. Now I'm looking on here in the computer with all these things that we've got going on. I'm looking for our Blog Talk Radio tab to look at where we're at on Blog Talk Radio. This is kind of funny. I have lost where we are on Blog Talk Radio. We're on Zoom, and I can see that we're on the call on Blog Talk Radio. However, somehow, oh, there it is. Blog Talk Radio. I need to keep track of where we're at on Blog Talk Radio, right? Because we have our clock here.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay, well, let's get back to loving Blog Talk Radio.
So tell me what you think is so important about Valentine's Day. What do you want to say about that?
I think it really is a good day to stop and see the people that you love. It again, my opinion though is it should be done at least once a week for every week, rather than just once a year. But it does help to make people stop and think about who they love, and it's really great for children, especially, to make things and to give things and to express. I would encourage everyone to do it more often rather than just once a year. I think it's really good, and there are all different kinds of love. There's romantic love. There's love for a parent. There's love for a child. There's love for friends. So there's love for some things. So there's a lot of different kinds of love, and different degrees also. It's sort of like an energy going up the scales.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It is an absolute energy. I'm sorry, I keep looking away from our camera. I think this is absolutely hilarious. Like, how do you lose how do you lose your place when you're
Where
when you're on the air.
Well, I don't worry about losing my place. It either working or it isn't. And when you've done all, there's a passage that says, having done all, stand. That means, do everything you can and then let it go.
I just think it's really funny. I mean, this is hysterical. All right, I'm going to take us back into the studio because it ought to say that we're in progress. I think that every February is a fabulous opportunity. I found us. Every February is a beautiful opportunity to say every day something in the expression of love and affection and gratitude. And look, I've even got my red roses back there.
I see that.
They smell beautiful. The aroma is fabulous.
Yes, some have really great aroma.
Some people get really bummed out during February, and especially women. Oh, I don't have a Valentine. Oh, nobody cares. How about if you care about you first? Like, get yourself all the flowers that you really want.
That's true.
And love it and enjoy it. Embrace it. Be completely sensual in the experience. And then, if someone is attracted to you, they think, she treats herself so well. Let's see if I can, get.
Well, we've talked about this before on other issues, and that is that it's important to love yourself first.
Always.
If you don't love yourself, then it's going to be really difficult to find people to love. And we can't want a person to complete us. We have to be with a person that we each love ourselves, and then we can come together.
Absolutely. I know.
You should never, ever rely on another person to love you, to fulfill you. It can be, as a matter of fact, but that should not be the driving force. It's so important to love yourself, to accept yourself, and have a person that values you for you.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the first step is, Tessa, in self-love? Like, when we encounter people who aren't there, what do you mentor a lot of people. You've spent your life mentoring a lot of people. You've come across people who seem to be devoid in that area, and they're looking, somebody please come in and love me. What do you do with that person? What do you tell them?
Well, we always start at the very beginning. I start when I'm mentoring a person is to get Louise Hay's workbook, companion workbook, and write out all of these things. When you know how and you can change then how your life was. Now, that's really always, if I am mentoring a person who wants change, that's where we start, because you have to know where you came from in order to know it doesn't mean that where you're going. It doesn't mean that you stay there at all. Then you work at loving yourself. Put I love you on Post-it notes all over and say it to yourself. Look in the mirror and say it to yourself over and over. Do kind things to yourself. There are so many people who are giving all the time. They don't take time for themselves, and that's not love. It is really, you're an enabler, taking care of everyone else. And when you forget about yourself, then that is really not the way to give. You really can't give from an empty cup or an empty bathtub or whatever.
So funny. An empty vessel is an empty vessel. Absolutely. So, it was really funny. As a teenager, there were some kids, seemed like girls in particular, who were just pining away over some guy. And it's like, if he doesn't love me, if he's not, then what am I? Very dramatic. And I always thought to myself, what is your problem? And like, why would anybody want to be around you when you're behaving like this? It's awful.
Well, it is. And teenagers especially go through things. And they really haven't been taught to love themselves from the very beginning. And it's because parents don't know. But if we could have parent courses before they have children on one, loving yourself, having good energy around, having music, and mostly music that is not words per se, but just high-end music.
Float music. You know what happens though? Haven't you ever noticed how many people have children because they are wanting something? It's not about what they're
Right.
going to give. I want a baby because then that baby needs me. Then the baby arrives and they're upset because they're not sleeping because the baby needs them. You know,
Right.
something really
It's
wrong
true.
about the whole thing with a lot of people, and so there's never any fulfillment. You know, when I'm working with people, you and I do very similar things. We state it differently, but what I'll ask people is when you are brushing your teeth in the morning, do you ever catch a glimpse of your eyes? Look at yourself eye to eye when you're in there? What? No, I'm usually thinking, oh my God, what's the matter with your hair? And, okay, would you treat somebody else that way? How about if you go in there and you really fall madly in love with who is right there? They're there for you all the time. You're there for you all the time. Be kind and loving. And, like I walk into the bathroom and I said, Dub Carlin, look at you. What are you doing today? What are you going to do today? What would you like to be doing today? And try to, juice it up a bit and make it so that I'm going to get somewhere in approximation or all the way to where I want to go, right?
That's true. And it's how we set our day to begin with, first of all. But I would put post-it notes, I love you, all over inside your cabinets, when you open the door, when you close the door, on the other side of the door. If you just get in the habit and then say it when you see this, I love you. It's really saying things with energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you said something that was really important, and that is look yourself in the eye and say, I love you.
Yeah.
And this is not an instant thing, by the way. I would encourage everyone that this is a process and it's practice, practice, practice. But when you do it enough, then you have made new neural pathways that you now love yourself.
It's funny. You just elicited a memory. I remember being a little girl and getting aggravated. And I remember stomping my foot in front of my mother and saying, no. And she'd look at me like, you're not going to throw a fit. I mean, you shouldn't have to say the words. It was just right there. And she'd say to me, okay, come on, give me your hand. No, give me your hand, Debbie. Come on, we're going to take a little walk. We're going to walk over to the mirror. And oh no, not the mirror. And we'd walk over to the mirror and we'd stand there and she'd say, now, we're going to stand here. We're going to hold hands. We're going to look straight at ourselves in the mirror and we're going to put a big smile on our face. And by the time we count to 10, that smile will be real and we'll be laughing. And I'd say, no. And she'd say, yes, we're going to do it. Come on. No, just put the smile on your face. You don't have to count. Okay. One, it's like you're on 3 and you start laughing because it's so ridiculous. And what she taught me was exactly what you just said. And that is your mind goes where you direct it.
This is so true.
You hear everything you say. The facial gesture that you have elicits, neurotransmitters in your brain that circulate out to, your peripheral nervous system, your central nervous system, and you believe it.
It's so true. And there are things, and it really would be good to have practices of how to change. One of the things I say, even now, but I had my kids do this when they were little, is when you're in a bad mood or angry or whatever, go outside and skip. You cannot skip and not laugh. Now, you can't do that in 20 below, but you can do it in the house.
I can skip in here.
Yeah. So this is the thing. It's finding ways to just change your mindset.
Yeah, be happy. You know,
Mhm.
and that song, I love that song, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Yes.
And,
Mhm.
and you got that little video that I sent you. Everybody can go on to either one of our pages, Deborah Carlin or Tessa Greenspan, and see this little boy who's probably 3 or 4 years old, maybe 5, and he's singing, "It's going to be all right. Don't worry about a thing."
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I love
Uh-huh.
that little kiddo. He's just so cute, and he's got this little rusty voice, raspy voice. You know, when you hear those things, you can't help but feel the sweetness of it, and feel it in your heart, right? And then you're looking at this little innocent face, and I just play it over and over again. But the other thing also is to remember that when you think that thought that's so loving and positive, say it out loud so you really hear it. It becomes a sensuous experience of your
That's true.
auditory, right?
That's
You're
true.
excited about it, it becomes gustatory. You can taste your happiness.
That's true. And if you were to write it out, that really is completing the whole circle.
Exactly, vestibular, tactile,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Active. And so all these things that we're telling people, if they're laughing about it or they're thinking, boy, those ladies goofy, here's another one for you. Do the switch. Open up one,
Yeah.
make a fist with the other, and just keep going back and forth. What are you doing? Well,
True.
you are awakening all the nerve endings in your peripheral nervous system that are in your hands and in your feet. But, it's kind of hard to tap on your feet. Just do it on your hands. And you're also hitting a meridian for your heart on the lateral side of your hand by your little finger where the wrinkles are. And you're calming your heart and you're eliciting it. You're also going from left to right. You're taking the two hemispheres of your brain, you're crossing that colossum, and you're joining the two parts of your brain, and you're getting balance. And by the way, try to do it without laughing.
This is what's so good. And I would urge every single person to write down some of the things that we've said to do, and then make it a practice to do this, because you can hear something, but unless you put it into practice, it's not going to make any difference.
Write it down. There's an assignment
Yes.
from Deb and Tessa here.
Yes.
So in the last 3 minutes of our show today, because I have indeed found our studio with our clock on it, tell people 3 wonderful things you've been doing while you've been living over there in the 71-degree weather.
I am with a great friend that has a mother-in-law apartment. So we have a great relationship. So we have fun, we laugh, we watch movies, and so those are the fun kinds of things. She's better at cooking, so she's trying to get me to do a little bit. So we're taking turns, which
It's hilarious.
that's interesting. But we're taking walks, and I'm doing a lot of Zooms. I have a lot that are in the planning. I still have a speech coach that I do twice a week.
3 things.
Three things.
You've done.
So that's more than 3.
Pacific in Arizona. You didn't even mention the one that you tell me about every time I talk to you.
What, the temperature? Well, I go for a walk. It's 70 or 72 degrees nearly every day.
And just enjoy the sunshine.
And yes, enjoy. I love the sun. There was a visualization on what color visualization can you do for your heart and then your whole body. And mine is sort of the orangey yellow of the sun. Everybody has different colors, but that sort of, it warms you, it invigorates you. That to me, it's really, that is one of my favorite things, is warm.
I'll tell you what,
yellow.
I love winter. I love every season. But right now, I have an envisionment of July on the beach, which was really hot. on that note, we're down to the wire. So Tessa Greenspan, it's been wonderful having talks with Tessa today.
Thank you. It's a good day to have a good day.
It is indeed. So from Dr. Deb Carlin here and Tessa Greenspan on Tuesdays with Tessa, I'm saying take it easy. We've absolutely committed to being happy, thriving, surviving, being happy, being healthy, and doing all the things that keep us there. Till next time, peace out.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.